Welcome to another video explaining the universe using the particle model. Today's video is one of the ones where I used to call this Ask Particle, not Quora, but just left it alone as Ask Particle. And today the topic is about bending light. A question asked by a viewer goes by the code name here of S00SV. He asked this on 6/25/21. And I'm going to cover his question. He was watching this video at the time, TPM Equations, Gravity 1 and 2, which is, I think that was my most recent video. You can watch it by going to this link. But it was about light, about bending G1 particles, and he phrases it in terms of bending light. This is his question. He says, I Googled TPM light and got tire pressure monitoring. Yeah, you gotta love Google. You never know what you're going to get when you type in something and whatever it's almost hilarious. Now he goes into comment, if Robert Dowdye Jr., though I'm sure I botched his name, has things right, then gravity lensing is gravity making lenses out of atmospheres, and the atmospheres are the things bending light, not gravity. Well, first of all, Robert Dowdye is not Robert Dowdye, it's Dr. Ed Dowdye Jr. He's a NASA scientist, and I actually know him. Unfortunately, he passed away December 31st of last year. He was 77 years old, and yes, he had a lot of data about gravitational lensing, and we'll go ahead and talk about that. SoosV continues his question by, as for G2s bending G1s, I've never seen proof. Those easy to assume. Well, Dr. Ed Dowdye, this is the way you spell his name, as I said, died December 31st, 2020. You can get his resume, or at least the resume that David did, because Ed Dowdye appears in EinsteinWrong.com, the movie. And he has his own, so this is his resume. You can find out a bit about him. He has his own website and book. The book is titled Extinction Shift Principle, and this is the link to his website. And one of the things he does is he generates these equations not from special relativity, not from general relativity, but from classical physics. And that's covered in his book. Quite a bit of interesting work done by Ed Dowdye. But the main part, this is also in his website, the main part here is the data he has obtained over the years of this gravitational lensing. And you'll see it's popping back and forth between general relativity, what general relativity shows, and what the observations actually show. And in general relativity, the light continues to bend way out, in not only distance r, but 2r, 3r, 4r away from the sun. But the observations show them when you're out here, when you're out past the corona, they go straight. They don't bend. And Dr. Dowdye is saying, hey, this isn't right. So gravity isn't bending it. It's only bending it when it goes through the corona. Notice these down here going through the corona of the sun continue to bend, but not past that. Interesting point. Well, my response to Soos is about this. Soos talks about an atmosphere, but Dowdye really is talking in the lensing about a corona. But the atmosphere does bend light as well, because when light bends through our atmosphere, we get a blue sky. That's how that happens. But the atmosphere or the corona is like a prism. Light through a prism bends. We know that. So what you have is light refracting through the atmosphere. And prior to my work on the particle model, it was my contention after listening to Dowdye that that it was refraction that was happening. And I was content with that, but I shouldn't have been, because just because you say it refracts doesn't tell you how it's happening. It tells you what it's doing. And refraction is often explained using the measured value of the index of refraction. These are empirical numbers, not numbers that tell you what causes it. It only tells you what happens. It doesn't tell you what causes it to bend. So what is the cause of refraction? That's the question. My response, to continue my response to him, light refracting through a triangular prism creates a rainbow. Controlled bending, and I call this controlled bending like that, can only be done by a gravitational force. Rainbows, the blue bends more, and so on, back to the red bends less. Gravity, you throw a lead ball with the same force and it only goes so far. You throw a wood ball with that force, it goes further. Cotton ball, even further. That falling is controlled bending of the path. So throwing the balls or that, to me, that's gravitational. Collisions can't do that. Collisions are chaotic. They tend to throw things apart. Further, a force that bends light in a controlled way must be faster than light. G1 gravity is faster than most of the objects it bends. Lead balls, wood balls, cotton balls don't go the speed of light. So if you want to bend light, which is moving at the speed of light, you got to have something faster than light. Well, when Einstein predicted gravity would bend light, probably assumed at the time that gravity was instantaneous. And 100 years later, now we know that gravity is not instantaneous. It's only at the speed of light. And so TPM, because of this, suggests that G2 gravity, which we suggest is faster than light, is the force that bends light. SoosV asks, is there any proof? And my statement back to him is, there is no direct evidence for Newtonian gravity, general relativity, and G1 gravity. Hence, no proof. There is indirect evidence which supports the ideas as long as you agree with the theory. You agree with Newtonian, then the orbiting of the moon and the planets and the falling of the lead ball as it drops to the earth, that's indirect evidence of gravity. Newton actually took motion. Motion is direct evidence of motion, but Newton used motion as indirect evidence of gravity. He has no proof that there really is gravity, but there is so much indirect evidence. When you get enough indirect evidence, you start to believe, oh yeah, maybe there is a thing called gravity. There is indirect evidence that supports the ideas as long as you agree with the theory. If you agree with general relativity, yeah, indirect evidence, motion can be compelling, but it's not proof. My name is Bob D. Hilster. I am your particle model guru. If you have a question, just ask Particle. You can do it by leaving a question in the notice area by the bell, or you can send me an email at particleguru gmail.com. Thank you for your attention.